The North Vancouver Regional Mail Processing Center does not decorate for Christmas. There is no tree in the lobby, no wreaths on the walls. The fluorescent lights hum year-round with the same indifferent intensity, flattening color and warmth into something sterile. December only announces itself through volume. More parcels, more envelopes, more pressure to move everything faster. That is why the letters went unnoticed for so long. They were found by accident. On December 21st, at 2:14 a.m., during a routine inventory sweep of the archival storage room, a temporary employee named Daniel Rook pulled down the wrong crate. The crate was mislabeled. It sat on the highest shelf, pushed far back, coated in a fine layer of dust that suggested it had not been moved in years. The label, handwritten and yellowed, read only, "Returned Mail, 1986. Daniel assumed it contained misprinted flyers or outdated forms. He was instructed to check the condition of old containers before disposal, so he pulled it down, cracked the brittle plastic seal, and opened the lid. Inside were letters, hundreds of them, all addressed the same way. Santa Claus, North Pole. No return addresses, no stamps. Some envelopes were new, crisp, white. Others were yellowed, creased, softened with age. They were not organized chronologically. They were not bundled or categorized. They had simply been placed there, year after year, added to the pile without comment. Daniel flipped through a few. Crayon handwriting, pencil, marker, careful cursive, messy block letters, children's handwriting. He smiled at first, then he read one. "Dear Santa, please don't bring toys this year. Please make him go away. He stands in my doorway when my parents sleep. I can hear him breathing. Please don't let him come back." There was no name. Daniel laughed once, short and uncomfortable. He told himself it was a prank. Someone's idea of dark humor. A misplaced creative writing project. He picked up another. "Dear Santa, Mom says monsters aren't real, but he smells like the basement. He tells me I'm special. I don't want to be special anymore." Daniel stopped smiling. He checked the dates. There were postmarks on some envelopes. Others had none. But written inside many letters were dates. December 1986. December 1991. December 1999. December 2007. December 2013. December 2019. The most recent letter was dated December 15th of the current year, 6 days ago. By protocol, Daniel should have resealed the crate and reported it to his supervisor. Instead, he kept reading. Each letter followed the same pattern. They were not requests for toys. They were pleas. "Please don't let him come into my room tonight. He says if I tell, Christmas will be ruined. I tried to hide under the bed, but he can see my feet. Please, Santa, I promise I was good." Some letters were short, frantic, written in uneven strokes, as if the child had been shaking. Others were methodical, disturbingly calm. "Dear Santa, I know you see everything. That means you see him too. If you don't help me, I think that means you want this to happen." One letter had been torn in half and taped back together. Another had a brownish stain near the bottom corner. Daniel did not want to think about what it might be. He sealed the crate at 3:47 a.m. and went home with a headache that would not fade. He dreamed of breathing sounds behind a closed door. The internal investigation began quietly. Officially, the letters were categorized as disturbing but non-actionable correspondence. Children write strange things. People project fears. The North Pole address is a symbolic destination, not a real one. There was no proof the letters reflected real events. Unofficially, the volume disturbed people. Over 400 letters, spanning nearly 40 years, all describing the same presence. Not a monster, not a ghost, not Santa, just him. He wears different faces, but it's always him. Sometimes he smells like beer. Sometimes he smells like soap. He always locks the door. The letters came from all over Canada. Urban apartments, rural houses, suburban cul-de-sacs, shelters, foster homes, upper middle-class neighborhoods, poor ones, rich ones. There was no geographic pattern, only one constant. Christmas. The first attempt to trace a sender failed. No full names were ever included. Children signed with first names, initials, or nothing at all. One letter ended with a shaky drawing, a stick figure standing in a doorway, too tall, arms reaching. Another had fingerprints pressed into the paper so hard they nearly tore through. Then someone noticed something else. The letters were not all written by children. At least 12 were written by adults. Dear Santa, I don't know if you're real, but I was told you watch. If you ever did, you watched me learn to be quiet. Another, I used to write you letters. I don't anymore, but it still happens. He just doesn't pretend it's a game now. And one, dated December 24th, 2004. I never got a response. I guess that was the answer. On December 22nd, the letters were quietly handed off to Child Protective Services. CPS opened a case file. They closed it 3 days later. There were no names, no addresses, no active reports, no missing persons cases directly tied to the letters. It was concluded that the letters were either fictional, symbolic, or historical abuse accounts submitted anonymously. Filed, archived, ignored. Christmas came and went. In January, someone noticed something they should have noticed earlier. The letters were not postmarked from homes. They were postmarked from post offices. More specifically, from drop boxes located inside post office buildings. That meant the letters were mailed intentionally, by hand, not collected from mailboxes. Someone had brought these children into public buildings and let them send the letters. Or the children had come alone. That raised a question no one wanted to ask. Why would a child who feared someone in their home choose a post office as the place to ask for help? Unless the post office felt safer than home. The task force was assembled under a different name. Not an investigation, a review. The letters were digitized. Handwriting was analyzed. Phrases were cataloged. Patterns emerged. He stands in the doorway. He waits until everyone sleeps. He tells me not to ruin Christmas. He says Santa's watching. One phrase appeared in over 60 letters across decades. If I'm good, he won't be angry. Another appeared in 37. He says Santa already knows. The first confirmed match came from an unexpected source. A retired social worker named Margaret Ellis was shown one of the letters during a consultation. She stared at it for a long time. Then she said quietly, "I know this handwriting." She had worked a case in 1992 involving a 7-year-old girl removed from her home after severe neglect. The child never disclosed abuse. She never spoke about anything specific. She only asked one question repeatedly. Did Santa see? Margaret pulled old files. The girl's first name matched the signature on one of the letters. The letter had been written 2 years before the girl entered foster care. No abuse was ever legally confirmed. The case had been closed. Margaret began to cry. More matches followed. Former foster children, adults in therapy. One man, now 46, identified his own letter. He had no memory of writing it. He did remember standing in a post office lobby on Christmas Eve, holding an envelope. He remembered feeling watched. He remembered thinking, if Santa is real, this will work. It hadn't. What happened to the children who were never identified? Some letters stopped abruptly. 1 year begging, silence forever after. Others continued for years, the tone changing as the writer aged. Please make him stop touching me. Please make him stop coming into my room. Please let me sleep. Please let me forget. Then eventually, I don't believe in you anymore. Those were usually the last. The most disturbing discovery came last. Someone noticed that some letters contained details about other letters. I hope you got the one I sent last year. I wrote it at the same place. He said you never answer because you agree with him. Another. I know you read them all. You always have. That suggested something impossible. That the children believed, truly believed, that Santa was not imaginary. That Santa was real, and worse, that Santa was complicit. On February 3rd, a letter arrived. It was not in the crate. It was delivered normally, addressed correctly, stamped. Santa Claus, North Pole. Inside was a single sheet of lined paper, adult handwriting. You've been very busy lately, digging through old things. You should stop. They trusted you. You watched. You never came. No signature, no threat. Just a statement. The return address was a post office that had been closed for 12 years. The investigation was shut down in March. Officially, due to lack of actionable leads. Unofficially, because someone high up decided it was better not to continue. The letters were sealed, classified, moved to a secure facility. People were told to forget. Some tried. Others couldn't. Daniel Rook resigned. Margaret Ellis retired. One analyst transferred departments after waking every night at 3:17 a.m., convinced someone was standing in her doorway. This is where the story usually ends. But it doesn't. Because the letters never stopped. They still arrive. Every December. Addressed the same way. Written by different hands. All asking the same thing. Please make him go away. They're logged, archived, ignored. No responses are sent. None ever have been. And somewhere, in houses filled with Christmas lights and music and warmth, children learn something important. That even when you write to someone who sees everything, sometimes no one comes. Like the video, if you want more investigations like this. Comment if you notice something others might have missed. Subscribe to stay with the story.